Hi, I'm Jake Cadwell with Cross Country Mortgage, and you are tuning in to episode 6 of the Northern Colorado Better Known Small Business Series, where each week we highlight a local business and an owner and discuss their journey from where they started to where they are today. And today we have Chris Travis with The Bunker. You can check them out on social media and their website at thebunkerusa.com. Welcome, Travis. We've had this one on the books a while, so glad to have you.
Yeah, bud, I really appreciate you inviting us and letting us tell our story a little bit.
Oh, absolutely. Glad to help. Known Travis for a little bit, so really happy to have him on. But let's kick this off Travis, and let's hear about where'd you grow up?
Well, I'm kind of a rarity. I'm a Colorado native.
No kidding.
We're becoming far and between up here.
I didn't know they still existed.
Yeah, well, it's one of those things.
Yeah.
We are fairly rare. I grew up in northeastern Colorado, a little town called Sterling.
Okay. All right. And so you grew up in Sterling, went to school out there, and joined the military out of Sterling. What was kind of the thing that made you look at the military, or what was the reason that you joined?
Man, I was a pretty good student, but I just didn't have any discipline to be 100% honest. I think my senior year, I missed like 56 days to play beer golf. I had a 3/4 right scholarship to the School of Mines. And I turned it down because I realized that if I couldn't go where they're taking roll for me to attend, I'll never survive at a school that doesn't care if I show up. All they want is my check. So I decided if I was going to do something, I was going to do the best. No offense to the other veterans, but
yeah,
I thought the Marine Corps was the best. It's like the varsity, man. It's a little taller, trains a little harder, always goes in the wind.
No JV. No JV. So I think, that sounds like a pretty mature decision at such a young age.
Well, my dad and my parents were really against it. But when they came to that graduation, when they watched us walk across that parade deck, and
oh yeah,
Jake, you've been there. There's something about that "Good morning, sir," hoorah phrase that happens with everybody, and you sense that camaraderie and that pride of belonging. And I think they understood that it was more than just a decision to go serve your country. You're belonging to a fraternity that's much bigger than yourself.
Absolutely. So, the family was happy when you graduated boot camp. And then you start your journey.
I'm saying they were happy, Jake. They were still a little mad. But, they understood.
They were proud. They were proud.
They were proud. They were proud.
Yeah. So these proud parents, and then you go off to training. What was your job, your MOS?
Well, I was an 0352 by trade, which is a tow gunner. So we trained over, and I was in San Diego. I went to infantry training battalion there in Camp Pendleton.
Mm-hmm.
We finished all that, and I ended up in an illustrious place called 29 Palms.
Oh yeah, I've been there.
I know it sounds luxurious, but please don't visit. It's not much to see there.
Yeah.
And, it's Mojave Desert, right? It's the biggest training area in the world, which is great as a grunt, right?
Oh yeah.
I joined 2-7, so 2nd Battalion, 7th Marines, 1st Marine Division. I was in CAT platoon, which is Combined Anti-Armor Team. We're an anti-armor group or squad. We had 20 armored Humvees with 50 cal marks and tows.
Mm-hmm.
And I worked my way up to there to, doing very well with what we were doing there in 29 Palms. And then I ended up getting voluntold to go on recruiting duty. Nobody volunteers for that, right? But you have to have a special B-billet to be a careerist. And that's the one they chose for me. And that brought me back to Colorado. So, it wasn't an all-out bad situation. We ended up back here in Northern Colorado, and we've been back here since 2003.
Okay. Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
So you got out as a recruiter.
Don't remind me, man. Come on. You can't be saying things like that. You're hurting my heart. I got out as a leader of Marines, as a staff.
There we go.
Stats
That's
aren't
right.
with 0369, right? That's what I got out as. But
That is right.
I did have a little mark that specified that I was on recruiting duty for a little bit, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, so I got in June of '99, man. It was a long time ago, and I ended up getting separated December 31st, 2008. Not that I'm counting.
No, not at all.
I did just shy of 10. I tell everybody I did 10, but I was actually medically retired at that mark because of bad knees. So here I am now, right? Moving forward.
Yeah. So you get out of the Marines. You're in Colorado. So what did you decide to do when you got out?
Well, I went to college. I started a couple smaller businesses back then, and I was young and didn't know what I was doing, right? I mean, I forgot who said it. I want to say it was Elon, but I doubt it was. So don't quote me that it was him. I'm just paraphrasing.
I'm quoting.
But he said that failure is not failing. It's an opportunity to start again with more experience. And I've always loved that. So I started a couple smaller businesses as a young guy. You know, I was in my late 20s. And then that was during the 08. I mean, we all remember 08. What a great time to start a company, right?
Yeah.
So didn't do well, obviously, right? But we learned a lot, right? That's very important that you learned a lot and know when to pull the parachute at that time. So then I ended up going to school. So I went to CSU for mechanical engineering. I did that for quite a while. And then I ended up finding the oil field, which ended up being a really good opportunity for me. I was on the directional drilling side. I wasn't a directional driller, but I was an MWD engineer, measurements while drilling for the drilling side on the oil patch for many years, man.
Okay. So you enjoyed your experience in the oil field. You did that for years, and then what was kind of the thing that started the bunker? What was the reason that you got into that?
Well, it was a handful of things, and anybody who's been in the oil field understands the only thing consistent in the oil field is that there will be a downturn. It's not if, it's when. And everybody's in the patch trying to find their way out, I believe, personally. So we actually started a gold and silver brokerage because I'm really big into precious metals initially. And we did that just to try to learn some shipping methods and what have you, try to figure out some kind of different models, whether it be subscription or mail-based or what have you. And then I read an article. I mean, it was 2.5 years ago, probably. And it was talking about the top 10 businesses that are very intimidating to purchase from or something similar. And the number one was a car lot, which makes sense. I mean, I grew up with a car salesman, so I completely understand that.
Yeah. As soon as you walk on that lot, you don't make eye contact with anyone.
And then number two was gyms. And, I can understand people having some issues going to a gym, depending on who's out there working out, right? But number three was gun stores. And I didn't like what I was reading about, people felt intimidated and they felt like they were being treated poorly for not understanding certain things about firearms. And I didn't believe it. So I spent the next 6 months or so just traveling to different gun stores and watching. And man, I got to be honest, I was a little surprised by what I saw and heard, and how they were treating some of their clientele. So I decided then that we could do, we could do a little better. I believe that maybe, and keep in mind, I'm utilizing NSSF, but I'm also trying to figure out exactly the right number to give you, right? But I assume that there's probably 25 to 40% of the population that's never actually been properly, sold or educated, helped, assisted, right? So we wanted to change our philosophy. We wanted to make a better shooter, a more educated hobbyist, if you will, somebody who may or may not want to get all the way into the gun market, but wants to understand it a little better. So we do everything here one-on-one. We schedule appointments. So that way there's not other people around. And our job is to really try to make sure that they move forward wherever their path is, man. We're just here to shepherd and help and assist.
Well, I think that's awesome because I personally, being in the Marines, I shot a lot of weapons in there, but, I wasn't necessarily a gun guy, and I've gone into gun shops before, and personally, I've felt intimidated before. So I do completely understand that for people that have never even held a gun of any kind or any sort of weapon, that can be very intimidating. And so, the last things anyone wants is to be ridiculed or anything, especially when, it's one of our American rights, something that you have, and that you should be able to utilize at any time without any sort of judgment or feeling any sort of shame. So I think that's really awesome that you're doing that.
Yeah, we pass that along with everything we do, whether we're selling somebody a shotgun, rifle, handgun, whatever the case may be. Part of our process is to help them understand the mechanical functioning of the firearm. All it is a tool. That's all it is. And if you don't understand how to use the tool or how to use the tool properly and safely, then it's dangerous. Absolutely. And it's important that people understand to respect the tool, right? So our job is to make sure they understand how to take it apart, how to put it back together, how to maintain it. Because that way, they're great wealth storage devices, man. I've never lost money on guns ever, right? So they're great wealth storage devices, and they're also functional, and they can assist people in certain situations, whether they need them or hopefully they never need them, but if they do, at least they're protected, utilizing that 2A, Second Amendment, right?
Absolutely. So you started some businesses at a young age. Those didn't quite work out. You started the gold and silver brokerage, the bunker. So, throughout the years, you put in the time, put in the risk, put in the effort to start these businesses. So what advice would you give to people looking to start their own business? Maybe a tip or two that you can kind of
That's a hard one. There's so many tips, right?
Yeah.
I owe a lot of it to the dedication that the Marine Corps taught me. Trying to always be the best, having the confidence to move forward, right? That was very helpful. The military taught me that, so I could push a little harder in this situation. But my favorite thing is mitigated risk. And I tell people all the time, if you're not utilizing mitigation for risk assessment, then you're treachery. You're heading into a treacherous area. My grandfather, great businessman. God rest him. He was my best friend, right? But he taught me a lot of things. And one of the things he kept saying to me all the time is, if you fail to plan, then you plan to fail. So plan, keep planning, plan a little more and plan a little more, right? Don't jump into anything. Make sure that you're looking at any problem that you may or may not have. And once you think you have it solved, take it to somebody that's been doing it longer than you, or in that industry, or maybe even an additional industry, and have them look at it. Because they're going to see things that you're not going to see. And then when they think they have it perfect, then take it to somebody else and keep doing this. Repeat this process until you believe that plan is basically bulletproof. That's what I did. And we still ran into problems that none of us were actually seeing or foreseeing, or didn't even realize it was going to be an issue. Look at our current market today, right? It's nuts. I don't know if your listeners are paying attention to our current demand. But it's crazy, man. The NSSF said between March and July.
Sorry, real quick. Can you explain what NSSF is?
Yeah. So what they are, they're the National Shooting Sports Federation. So what they do is they're there to help everybody be more educated when it comes to shooting. They set up different schedules, different shooting events, things like that. But one of the most important parts for gun owners, or especially for business owners, is they compile a ton of data. And it allows you to have access to certain market trends, things like that you would never, ever know if it wasn't for them. So they're a really good organization. We're proud to be a member of them, definitely. But they had released some numbers, and they had said between March and July, there was over 9 million guns sold in America, which is just insane. I have no idea where the number is now. Right, it's definitely much higher, and that was only ones that we were tracking based on the 4473. That means submittals, right? That's all that means, that were approved. In that same time frame, they sold 8.7 billion with a B rounds of ammunition.
That's insane.
So we're running into a really high demand issue, and the problem is that we actually have all the manufacturers are running into production issues. They can't get the right goods to be able to produce what they need to produce, and it's bottlenecking. People will go to my website. I know you gave it to them. That's thebunkerusa.com. We also have nocobunker.com. It's a little easier to remember for us Noco people.
Yeah.
It'll get you to the same place either way, but you'll notice that a lot of our inventory says out of stock. So all of my inventory is associated and directly connected to all of my distributors. So if it says out of stock, that's because they're out of stock. I'll give you a prime example. Number two our number one vendor, but number two in the country is one called Xander's. And Xander's offers 2006 handguns, models of handguns. They have 7 available. 7. Yeah, everything else is on back order, man. I got 2,000 guns on back order. Tens of thousands of rounds on back order, and I have no idea when we're going to get it. It's a crazy market right now.
Insane. So, I mean, when do they anticipate things getting back to normal?
I've heard a lot of different numbers, man, but the one that scares me the most is I heard June of 22.
Wow. Yeah. That feels like a long time away.
18 more months, man. 18 more months. I mean, I'm already seeing 9mm ammo sell for 94 cents a round, which I just think is ridiculous. And 380 is selling for $1.14 on the real market, you know. I would urge people, man, getting ammo is really hard. It's even hard for us. It's almost impossible for us. I would urge them to, look into if they need it now, if they have to have it now, there are some ways to be able to get that ammo. Just have them give me a call or send me an email. All of our information is definitely on our website, and we'll try to shepherd them to trying to find what they need to protect themselves, because it's a dangerous time right now, right? And it makes it even worse is when you cannot get ammo.
Yeah, that's a very huge predicament.
Oh yeah.
So as you mentioned on your website, so you're technically an online retailer, but you can set up a local appointment if you're a local in the Northern Colorado area.
Yeah, definitely. We do transfers from all over the country. There was a movie a long time ago with Nicolas Cage where he was a gun dealer and he was given a bunch of stats, but at the end of it, he said that there was enough guns to arm 1 in 12 people. His job was to arm the other 11. And that's my philosophy. I think that every able-bodied American should own a firearm, and we want to help them be able to protect themselves and their family. If they're local and they want to come over and have us assist them, if we have something in stock, or even if they're just looking for a proper fit. A lot of gun stores up here, they don't take the time to make sure that you're buying the right gun. And if you buy the wrong gun and you have too much recoil, or it's too loud or too heavy, or whatever the case is, you're never going to use it. And if you don't practice, you're never going to be accurate, and you're probably more dangerous carrying the firearm than you would be with training, or not even carrying one, right? We have tasers for that. We can sell them some less than lethal tasers if they're having a different mindset, right? Our CCW class goes over all this, and we get very, very specific on exactly how we recommend people protect themselves. So we'd recommend people to look that up. It's also on our website. Our next class is October 17th. It will probably be our last class of the year. Based on schedules and holidays.
A concealed weapons permit class,
yes,
October 17th. So that'll be the last one of the year. And I've seen in the past, you've also had women-specific concealed carry classes as well.
We do. It's kind of a challenge. We try to do one of those a quarter. At least we attempt it. Either you fill that thing instantly, or it's 1 or 2 people, right? It's one or the other. We urge people, if they want to take a women's only class, get a couple of your friends together and help us fill that class faster, and we'll guarantee we'll do it. If a little bit out, we can't fill that class, we'll either cancel it or we'll turn it into a co-ed class. But normally on those female only ones, if we do our good job marketing and advertising, we have a tendency to definitely fill the class super fast if we do have one. We do them like once a quarter, Jake.
Yeah, and I've been trying to get my wife to go to one because specifically I bought a new pistol a few months back and took it to the range to go shoot it. I said, "Come on, hon, let's do a couple activities. Let's go shoot."
Date night, right?
Yeah, date night, exactly. And so we walk into the range. She takes one step in. Here's the other people shooting. It's just so loud, and she hadn't really shot before, so she wasn't very comfortable and definitely didn't have the confidence. And that confidence is key.
Well, it's all about mindset, right, Jake? And you have to know where you are on your progress and how we can get you to the next steps, right? That's what we specialize in. So one of my other instructors, his name is David Walter. He's an awesome Marine as well. So it's ran by two jarheads, right?
Yeah.
But we talk about consistency breeds accuracy. It's really important that you maintain that, right? So we always say that the keys and the building blocks towards your shooting experience is that mindset, which is based on comfortability, confidence, if you will, and being able to be proficient with that firearm. If you have those three things, man, then you're going to be able to move to the next steps. But it's very important that people practice. We actually have a thing called the iTarget Pro, and we can't keep them in. I mean, they're just awesome, especially right now with the amount, like the high cost of ammo and what have you. So what it is, it's a target sled, right, that utilizes a free app on your phone, and it has a bore-sighted laser that has a button actuator on it. So you actually put the bore sighter inside your firearm, the firearm that you will be shooting or carrying, and it allows you to dry fire and gives you instant feedback. So that way you can make adjustments. I know there's no recoil, but 98% of your shot happens before the bang. And it's very important that people get very consistent and comfortable and get more accurate, building that consistency, right? When they do that, then when they go to the range to throw money downhole, at least they're going to show up there with an instructor or with whoever's assisting them, and they'll have to make small adjustments instead of huge, big adjustments while it's costing them more money. We highly recommend it. They make it in 8 different calibers. If you have any questions, send us an email. We'll tell you all about them. Heck, we even have 3 of them set up here. So if you want to come by and demo one, let us know, man.
Heck yeah.
We sell a lot of those.
Yeah, that sounds really cool. And I kind of want to add to that is, when I went into boot camp, I, shot a few 22s growing up, but that was it. And when we started going into our instruction and qualification, I'll never forget, the instructor said, the people that have shot lots of guns already in their life, they're the hardest to teach to shoot accurately. You folks that have never shot before, you're going to end up doing the best. And I ended up getting a expert badge out of boot camp, and that was without any experience at all. So it is all about that practice.
Well, you also
open.
Go ahead, Jake. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Being open to learning and just being comfortable, and you get comfortable with the weapon, you take it apart, you have all the instruction, and with that, you're able to be quite proficient and be comfortable with it.
Definitely. And remember, we had the shooting barrels. We sit there for hours and just dry fire, right? Working on our fundamentals. That's exactly what this is, but it's giving you instant feedback. So you can see where your bore was pointed when you were firing. I mean, it's really designed for handguns, maybe even some AR pistols. It's not designed for rifles. But if you're wanting to carry a firearm or have the option, you definitely need to be a little more trained. And our job is to get you to that next level, whatever that level is, man. We want to cater to everybody.
That's cool. That's real cool. And when you say everybody, I mean, it's not just the guns on your website. You have lots of accessories. You have knives, hunting
we have
gear.
Access to lots of stuff. I wouldn't say that there's lots there, right?
Yeah,
I mean, we have access to over 350,000 items, but a lot of things are out of stock. So we just ask people to bear with us, and we'll do what we can to try to find what they need. And if we can't, we'll help them find another means.
Can you get that cool bunker hat on your website?
It might be arranged.
All right. Cool. So, I think it's an awesome story, Travis. Just what you mentioned about starting your business, the dedication that it requires. You have to be all in if you want to be successful. I mean, you can do a hobby on the side, but if you truly want that to be your bread and butter, I mean, you really have to be all in. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh, 100%, man. I mean, you have to live, breathe. I don't have any free time, right? I mean, I tell people that I work 20 hours a day. Now that's not always true, right? But I feel, even if I only have work scheduled for 7 hours a day, I feel like I spent 20 hours because I put 110% into it. And you have to live and breathe and just tell everybody you meet what you do, right? Because that's very, very important. And customer service, man, we've somewhere along the lines with these big box stores and these massive conglomerates, we have lost fact of
It's gone out the window.
Being right, taking care of the customer and doing everything you can to maintain and earn their business. Right.
Absolutely.
You have to give respect, man, to get it. And it's very important that they are strictly dedicated and focused on their company.
Awesome. And another thing that you said that I thought was really good is the mitigated risk and the goal planning, to understand what the hurdles are going to be, but to also know and plan, what you want for your goal. And that's great to have your goal, but how are you going to get there and what steps? Because if you have no calculation of how you're going to get there, and you're just shooting for the stars, how are you going to be able to account for, your successes or your failures,
It's an interesting thing you just said about the shooting for your stars. My grandmother always told me, you always shoot for the stars, because even if you don't get them, you never end up with a handful of dirt. Right? So you always want to be giving yourself goals that are a little out of reach, that you don't believe. If you think that I can hit this number, multiply it by 20% and go after that one and see if you can get it, or even 10%, right? Give yourself a little bit of a challenge, because if you're not challenged, you're going to get bored. And if you're bored, because you're going to have anybody pushing you, man. And if you don't have that motivation to self-start and move forward, you're never going to attain that goal. So make it challenging, make it hard, find a way to make yourself figure out what's next. It's always a challenge, always.
Absolutely. And you added a mentor to that. Having, knowing someone's talking to someone, and it's not even necessarily the experience of the same industry that you're in, but someone that has life experience, business experience, someone that you can take some tips and tricks, and someone, there's lots of successful people out there that are willing to help. You just have to be able to ask,
Right. And we, excuse me, I have a handful of guys that I pass every idea I have through. They're all very successful. They've done very well, and they come from multiple different industries. So they all have different insight and different advice. It's amazing. Find yourself that group of people to be able to throw things at and listen for the feedback. It's very, very important. Very important.
Absolutely. And one thing, the last thing that that I've really stuck with me is you're always learning. In my case with mortgages, I geek out on it. It's kind of lame, but I love it. So any new thing, any guideline, I'm always on it. And I would expect you're the same way with this.
Yeah, it's a lot to learn, right? There's so many guns out there. But if somebody asks me a question that I don't know the answer, I'm never going to lie to them, right? Because you automatically lose that trust. Absolutely. And you have to make sure they understand that, hey, I don't know the answer, but I'll find the answer. Because there's tens of thousands of guns out there, right? Different models, different brands, different all kinds of things. So you really got to work on what's next and what's coming up. So I would agree that product knowledge is massively important. Massively important.
Yeah, it's especially weapons, guns. Knowledge is very, very important with that. So Travis, I appreciate you coming on. Is there anything that you want to add?
I think I said everything I really needed to say today. I just appreciate the opportunity to be here to talk to you, Jake.
No, thanks for coming on. This was really cool. I suggest anyone watching check out their social media. Post a lot of cool guns on there, a lot of cool stuff. And their website has a lot of cool stuff on there that you can check out. So once again, just want to thank you, Travis. Thanks for coming on, and we wish you the best of luck.
All right, man. I appreciate it. You as well, Jake. Have a great day.
You too. Thanks. Bye-bye.